And we're live! Good morning, folks, or afternoon, depending on when you have decided to listen to our A Couple of Dummies podcast. How's everyone doing today?
Really, Mark?
Yeah. I am Dunsky here. I'm fired up today. I'm here with my old pal, Shill. And we are very excited about today's podcast because we hit the number 3. Officially our 3rd podcast. And we're having fun with it. I think we're up to maybe 4 or 5 listeners, which is far beyond our expectations. And we're growing. And as we go along, those of you that are kind enough to follow us on this little adventure are going to benefit from additions each week, or new things we're going to try to incorporate. Which,
like my vodka tonic?
Like your vodka tonic you're enjoying right now? Yeah, with a little bit of... I got a little rattle in there.
Yeah, I have a little cocktail.
Sometimes I like to have a little cocktail to unwind myself.
Sure. I mean, it's noon somewhere.
Yeah, it's noon somewhere. Almost here. And we now have an email address where you can email us and you can make comments, suggestions, harass us, call us names, things like that.
Or you can just continue to call us names on Facebook.
Yeah, or you can just continue to call us names on Facebook. Shout out to our listener of the week.
That's up to you.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we're going to start doing that. Our shout out to the listener of the week is Michael Young.
Welcome back, Michael. We knew you couldn't stay away long.
No, we appreciate you listening in. Everybody's listening in. That is listening in. We appreciate it, and hope you're at least enjoying yourself. Because we are.
Yeah, hopefully somebody is.
Yeah. So our email address, if you want to send us an email, or if you know us personally, you can text us, obviously.
Why don't we just give out our cell numbers, Mark?
Okay. Let's start with yours, and then we'll see if we get to mine. That email address is A Couple of Dummies, and that's all connected. There's no spaces, at gmail.com. And you can reach either of us there. We're both checking it. So far, we've checked it once.
I check it every day.
Oh, Shill checks it every day, as well as he checks our numbers on YouTube.
I do.
Yeah.
And it doesn't fluctuate much.
I had to drag Shilb into this whole world of podcasting, and he's sticking to it. So we're fired up. Today we have a special guest on the podcast via phone, and we've just tested it out about a minute before we started today, and it seems to be working okay. So, Shortie Biggs is going to be on the line.
Shortie Biggs, ladies and gentlemen.
Shortie. He's going to be calling in, and we're just going to talk to him for a little bit. Other topics. What we decided to close out the Rambo session, because we figured we started it. We're not going to go into the new film. I think that one's called, Rambo, right? John Rambo or something?
Yeah, something like that. The 4th and final installment.
Right. We didn't decide to go into that one just because, the original 3 are enough. And the 3rd one, we enjoyed it for the most part, but we found that the subject matter of that one gets a little too close to home.
It's a little dicey.
It's a little dicey.
It's from 1988.
It's 1988.
And the war in Afghanistan with Russia was raging.
And we were, as you know, America, it was in some ways assisting Afghanistan in that fight. And John Rambo goes over there to rescue his old friend Colonel Troutman, who finally decides to get his hands dirty. And,
Troutman,
and gets snatched up immediately.
He goes straight into captivity. His first time in the field for 20 years, and he's lost all skills, and they've just penned him up.
They took him down. He drove down a major road in what looks like a stone quarry, and a big gunship helicopter kills everybody except him, and he immediately just gives up and goes right into captivity.
Goes straight into captivity.
Which pulls his old friend, who's now living a Buddhist lifestyle, John Rambo, Buddhist lifestyle, but he's raising money for the temple by Kali stick fighting in a square in Thailand.
In Thailand, yeah. It's kind of like the wussy version of Deer Hunter when when he goes to find Walken and Walken is playing Russian roulette at a table with
for money.
With that Asian guy, and his eyes are just dead. It's like the wussy version of that. You go in and there's Rambo in a stick fight. Oh boy! Oh, we must rescue him from the stick fight. And he's just built like an Adonis.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, we were noticing how They say, well, Troutman makes the line about there's a famous sculptor who made a sculpture, and everybody said, "Wow, how did you get the skills to make such a beautiful sculpture?" He said, I didn't make the sculpture, I just chipped away the pieces."
Yeah.
And he said that when we built you, John, we didn't build you, we just chipped away the pieces, saying that deep down inside
he's a warrior.
He's a warrior. And they keep polishing the stone and chipping away more pieces as the movie goes on, because he is cut in this film.
Absolutely cut.
So he's collie stick fighting, and Troutman comes in and tries to get him to go on this mission. He refuses.
Not his war.
Not his war. He already fought his war, and he continues to fight the war inside of him. And so he opts not to, and Troutman goes instead and gets caught, and then Rainbow has to go bail him out. And in the meantime, he befriends a tribe of warriors, Afghan warriors. And it gets a little close to home because, that's definitely a real thing going on now. But we've decided we were going to brush over that because there's not a lot of humor in that.
There were a lot of one-liners. That was the thing. It's that the thing. Stallone wrote it with some other chump, and there were just one-liners through the whole thing.
James Cameron bailed.
Cameron's off the franchise by now.
He's off making Terminator 2 or something.
Yeah, who knows what. Probably Terminator 2. He hitched his wagon to the star that was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yeah.
He gave up on Stallone. He's on to Schwarzenegger.
He flipped the coin.
But there were great one-liners through the whole thing, and the one that I loved the most that had me spitting vodka all over the room was when what are you drinking, Mark?
I'm having a little Trites Home brewery company, local brewery. It's called a Magnificent Amber.
Ah, yes. Didn't you have one of those at the bar the other night?
I did. I'm a big fan of their stuff. It's good. We have to go. I have to take you up there to their brewery sometime.
Sounds good to me.
It's they have what they do is they have a food truck outside, and it rotates local vendors. And they don't have a kitchen in house, but they have their selection of beers, and you can free Wi-Fi. You can get food off the food truck, and then you can bring your animals in there.
That sounds like fun.
It's fun.
I'll go up there.
As long as you're not allergic to dogs.
I am allergic to dogs, actually.
We should go then.
Anyway, so Rambo comes. Obviously, the setup is he's going to rescue Troutman from this camp, this prison that he's in.
Yeah,
and it's in the center of Afghanistan, and
it's in like a mountain castle, right?
Right.
It's a fortress. They refer to it as a fortress.
Fortress, and the Russians have captured him. It's not the Afghanis, but so Rambo goes through hell and high water to get to him, and he gets down into the cellar, the basement, like where he's being kept, and he's in an actual prison, and there's a steel door there, and there's a little slit in the door where the camera goes straight, and we just see Troutman's eyes looking out at us from about 30 feet behind the door, and then they cut, and you can see Rambo's eyes looking through the slit at Troutman, and then Troutman comes walking up to the door, and he goes, "John, how the hell did you get in here?" It was great. He'd been in camp, for weeks on end. There's barely any food, and they're like, he's on the stretcher. They're like torturing him, and he doesn't say, "John, get me the hell out of here," or "John, thank God you're here." John, how the hell did you get in here? Like, it
just continues to amaze Troutman. The skills of this guy.
I have created a monster. So there's one-liners all through it, but that was my favorite.
Yeah, that was a good one. We actually have a habit of with the DVR or whatever it's called. We rewind moments multiple times, and each time we just laugh even harder.
Yeah, so, for sure.
That was an awesome one. Yeah, and so we watched the rest of that. And it's a good. It's. I think it's better than the second one. I can stand behind that remark just based on the action and the flow. It kind of is the same thing, though. Rambo goes to rescue him. They fall into some hard times.
Yeah.
I enjoy the part where he's hunting the Russian soldiers through the caves.
Yeah.
And the blue light. Oh, that was another one, too. There's this little Afghani kid that's kind of his guide, sort of. And he's going through his equipment. And he pulls out these little blue...
glow stick.
And he pulls it out and he goes, "What's that?" And he goes, "It's a blue light." And he goes, goes, what does it do? And he goes, it turns blue.
That's right.
So we watched that. That was fun. And then we watched a movie called The Campaign with Will Ferrell and Zach Galifianakis.
Very funny movie.
Top notch. If you love getting into politics and really kind of the knockdown, drag out part of politics, they really kind of poke fun at that, but in a very funny way.
Yeah.
It's definitely rated R. I mean, it's got some humor in there that is definitely geared for a specific audience.
No question.
It's very funny and great performances by both guys.
Yeah,
I'm a big Will Ferrell fan.
And I really have never. As Zach Galifianakis, I can appreciate what it is that he does, and I thought he was good in like the Hangover movies, because that's kind of who I see that guy as. But in this particular movie, he actually gave a really kind of credible comedic performance outside of what he would typically do in a movie.
Right. Yeah, I would agree.
Yeah.
He played a very what do you call it? A character that was really affected by a lot of things.
He was. Yes, that's
a very honest kind of, but also funny because
but an honest portrayal nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he played a character, and this character was from, he's from North Carolina, right? Or was it South Carolina?
No, it was North Carolina.
North Carolina, that's right. And that's where he's from, so I think a lot of that character, he has, if anybody's seen some of his YouTube stuff with his Between Two Ferns, he has a character that when he shaves his beard and he just has his mustache called Seth Galifianakis. And he portrays who's supposed to be his brother, who's very jealous of all of Zach's fame, and the very same kind of character that I think this one was kind of based on. But this one character is called Marty Huggins.
Marty Huggins.
He's got a couple of pug dogs and a family.
Yeah.
And Brian Cox is in it. He's very funny.
Brian Cox was great in it, yeah.
Yeah, there's some really good cameo stuff.
Yeah. Will Ferrell.
Yeah, Will Ferrell's, of course, really good. And his performance is a little different, too. I mean, he was kind of a villain in most of it.
He was a little bit of a villain, but, he always plays that big, dumb, hapless guy who's out for physical, gratification only.
Yeah.
So, but physical and, his own personal gratification.
Yeah, and just oblivious to no empathy.
The
just
needs of anyone else.
Everybody else.
It is great.
It is a funny movie. We recommend it, but just beware, it's definitely not for all ages. So that's good.
The MPAA has a rating system, Mark.
Do they?
Yeah, that they apply to movies, so that when people go out, if they get a recommendation of a movie, then they can see on the face of the movie what the rating is.
Okay.
Now, is there
How long has that been around?
Well, years and years, Mark. Or is there someone you're trying to protect?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Just covering ourselves. CYA, buddy. CYA.
Really?
I learned that in corporate America.
Well, they said it was a good movie. I took my 4-year-old. And now the 4-year-old's just walking around cussing.
Every year, somebody takes their kid to the midnight showing of the Rocky Horror Show because they think it's going to be a funny little musical, and they don't realize that it does have some adult content. So it's important when you're offering recommendations to CYA.
Really?
Cabello
All right.
Boutique.
Well, you've done that. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. And then and you're welcome, America. On the podcast today, we're actually very. I'm relatively excited about having a guest on the podcast.
Sure, me too.
Because it's something we're going to try out. Because my eventual goal is, and I'm kind of dragging Shilba along for the ride with this in some ways.
You can say that again.
I want to go to live stream format where people can click a link and listen to it as it happens. I think that's fun. There's a degree of both of us having some experience in live performance art. It adds a different edge, a different danger to what we're doing, and it may crash and burn if we do that. But I'm willing to take a shot at it.
Okay, fair enough.
So, today we are going to, in a couple minutes, we've got our friend Shortie Biggs, who we're going to call up and just pick his brain a little bit, see what he's up to. Is
that what we're going to do?
Yeah.
All right.
What do you think? You got any good questions for Shortie Biggs?
No, I might have a few comments.
Okay, cool.
But, no, I'm good.
Well, he knows for a fact that by us calling him, he is on the shooting range. He's there for our enjoyment. We can ask him questions just verbally. Lambast him.
All right.
So,
well, I'm sure we're all very excited for it.
yeah. Well, I know I am, and I know
Quite a
you
big
are.
event.
But we're not going any further without a Sunday morning pancake report, because everybody likes to hear about pancakes.
Yeah.
So this week, Shilp did something a little different, and it's something that he talked about doing before, and it was a kind of a surprise to me. I didn't expect it. He made his pancakes from scratch.
I did.
They were very good. You used whole wheat flour?
I did use whole wheat flour.
So, of course, my wife wasn't here to enjoy them, and she wouldn't have enjoyed them because she has a terrible gluten allergy. Which we're not laughing at that. We're
it's
laughing at
gluten-free flour, please.
Yeah.
Enjoy. And just watch her stomach balloon up. She get all gassy.
doubled over. Tears streaming down
terrible
her
pain.
face.
Terrible pain.
Yeah.
That would have been fun.
No, and then we also you made sausage, because I made a recommendation this week, and it fell on anger. It was first received with a little bit of anger.
Well, it was the approach.
It was the approach. Okay, we were having dinner the other night, and I suggested Shelby and my wife and I said, I love the pancakes. What do you think? And here's exactly the tone I used, as I recall. What do you think about throwing some salt in the mix, like with some breakfast sausages or some smoky links?
That is not the tone, nor is that what you said.
What do you say?
You said, how about throwing in some salt? How about throwing in a couple of smoky links? You yelled at me.
Cut that sweet, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was like, who the F do you think? I was like, if you want smoky links, you bring them over and cook them.
Yeah, that's exactly why we responded.
I was very angry.
And we were in a crowded restaurant at the time.
Yeah, but those buffoons have been bumping us around all night.
Oh, yeah. We ran into a couple heavy-elbowed fellers that were kind of crowding us a little bit.
Yeah.
And I said, I moved out of the city to get away from this kind of cramped bumping and pushing and crowding.
So we left.
So then we left. And then we went to another place, the three of us, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden Shield's chair gets bumped again, and we turn around, and those fools had also moved their party down to where we went.
Yeah, a different bar, half-mile away, and they roll. Still bumping us around.
And then Shilb, as he's getting up, decides you're trying to play in your mind whether or not you're actually going to make a physical bump against their table or something.
Yeah, because I'm totally like, what do they call it? Passive aggressive.
Passive aggressive.
I would never go up and say, you know what, you've been pushing me around all night, sir.
Mm-hmm.
And I frankly, I don't appreciate it, and I think you should, in the future, just be more aware of your surroundings.
Be mindful.
I wouldn't do that, because that's direct.
That's direct.
No, I'm passive aggressive.
Yeah.
I would accidentally,
As the day is long.
Right. Accidentally bump into him or so, just to get my point across. Right.
Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
That way you could walk out with your chin up, knowing that you
That's
retaliated in a way that he probably has no idea was even a retaliation.
That's right. That's right.
But your head will hit the pillow that night, knowing that you did the right thing.
I served that guy.
Yeah. So as Shilb's getting ready to leave, he's trying to make this decision, and then what happened?
I dropped something next to their table, right at the end of their table, and I knelt down to get it, and I bumped there was a
menu.
Thank you. There was a menu hanging off the edge of their table, and I bumped the menu, and it fell to the floor, and then all eyes of the table were on me because I've got gloves on. I'm trying to pick this thing up, and then I get the menu, and I bump the table with my elbow as I'm getting up, and this is all accidental. And so I put the menu down on the edge of the table, and I just look at everybody at the table, and I'm like, "Excuse me, have a good evening," and I walked away. So
they knew they had been served.
That's right. So to maintain your storyline on what was going through me internally, I went to bed that night knowing that I looked like a complete D-bag. Just a clumsy fool.
Just a clumsy fool.
So, anyway, that serves me right for even thinking that because he accidentally bumped into me at the previous bar, that I needed to pay the man back. Something stupid. Just stupid.
But the other thing is, it's kind of how this is all sort of connected with breakfast was because you don't directly address those issues then, when a friend who you're comfortable with
and I
suggests that you add a little salt to your sweet breakfast, you blow up off the handle and
right.
come down like a Paul Bunyan to so many trees.
I just start screaming at
You
him.
just start screaming at him.
Who the hell do you think you? What are you? You get off your butt and cook your own breakfast. Terrible.
So
I'm not a good person.
So what did you add to breakfast this morning?
Well, I made some sausage per your request.
And passive aggressively, they weren't in link form.
They were not. I bought like the bulk sausage and
No, but
formed my own patties.
yes. So it was a very round breakfast, round pancakes.
Everything's round.
But very good. And I think
good.
you hit it out of the park this morning.
Well, thank you. And I had some blackberries. I just tossed them in some sugar.
Yeah. Oh, that you did?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realize you
Yeah,
did
toss
that.
some sugar
Pull
in.
some of the juices out.
Something like that. Put them back in the fridge.
Yeah. And it was very, very good. I even thought the fresh pancakes, even though you thought they were a little heavy,
They're a little heavy.
I thought they cut a little lighter with the fork, and I thought I enjoyed them. I really did. And the salt was a nice addition, if I do say so myself.
That's good. Well, it was really, I'll be honest with you, making them from scratch, it's not very labor intensive.
No, I
It's
saw
the
you. You weren't working any harder than you were last week.
No. So,
Well, I was
if I-
catching up on my videos.
you were catching up on your
Yep.
videos. You're a big MMA fan.
Yep, I'm a big MMA fan.
Big fight coming up.
Big fight coming up. Yeah,
Ronda Rousey.
Yep. And Liz Camacho, I probably just mispronounced her name, and I apologize. But
That's Camacho?
Camacho, but it ends in an E, not an O. I think. I'll look it up.
Camachi?
Maybe Camacho. This could be very offensive. Anyways,
You just don't know how to spell the woman's name.
yeah, or pronounce it. I know how to spell it.
So there's nothing offensive about that.
So what it is it's groundbreaking because the UFC has now joined the rest of the MMA community in embracing women's MMA, and they have created a weight division, one weight division at this point, and they're going to kind of grow from that with the rising star Ronda Rousey, and she's a former Olympic medalist.
And the weight division is 3 bills or larger. Is that right? You have to be
135.
You have to be 300 pounds. Is that the deal?
No.
One weight division, 300 pounders or more. Now, if you're 135, you can fight in that division.
Right. But you're risking the chance of going up against somebody for 500 pounds.
Right.
Yeah. That's true. No, it's a
That's
cap.
not the case?
No.
Oh.
You have to weigh in at least, or at maximum you can weigh in is 135.
I see.
Title fights, sometimes there's no weight, they don't give you any weight. Sometimes in a non-title fight, they'll give you a pound if you weigh over, but oftentimes in the title fights, I think it's all title fights, you can't be a pound over.
Okay.
And they give you time to work that off if you're still having sweat every ounce of water out of your body. But yeah, so it's going to be a big fight, and it's the headliner. They're not only doing the fight, they're headlining, and she's become a big star. She's a former Olympian, so she brings a lot of credibility.
Ronda Rousey?
Yeah. She's the first American woman, I believe, if I'm correct on this, is that she's the first female to medal in judo in the Olympics.
Really?
Yeah.
Was she fighting men?
No,
In
she's
judo?
fighting other women. No, see, the Olympics are broken up into
Men and women.
Men, yeah,
Well, so she was the first female to win a medal.
yeah, in the Olympics.
In the
in
first
judo.
in judo in the first year that they had women involved in judo.
Is that what it was? It the first year?
Well,
no,
it would have to be if she's not fighting men.
No, it would just be that nobody else is. Oh, I see what you're saying. Because medaling is somebody has to medal.
Somebody has to medal.
Yeah.
So she had.
She was the first American woman to medal in judo.
So it breaks. It was her or 2 other chicks, basically.
Right.
She was the first.
No,
Well, because
can-
because you're talking about. Okay, so it's the Olympics. First woman to medal in the Olympics. No, first woman to medal in judo. In the
American woman.
First American woman to medal in
Yeah.
judo in the Olympics, and there were a total of 3 women that were involved in judo in the Olympics from America, and so she had a 1 in 3 chance, basically. You see where I'm going?
I hate you so much.
Well, no, I'm just saying that's
I worded it strangely. Okay, she's the first American woman to medal in the Olympics in judo. So that
Right.
means the Japanese women are always taking the medals, or the Russian women are always taking the medals.
I see. Oh, okay. So that means something.
Trinidadian, whoever. They're always medaling. American women are not.
I see.
And
So
she-
she broke through that invisible barrier.
Yeah.
I see.
And then she joins MMA, and she decides after the Olympics, and she's talking on Primetime about how women aren't professional. Well, there's no real professional competition for a female judo medalist.
Uh-huh.
So once they're out of the Olympics, it's kind of like, what do you do? So she was waitress at a really rough bar that they only really hired her because she could fight and and stuff like that. And so when she got into MMA, she started collecting arms.
Really? Oh, yeah, because that's what she does, is dislocate the elbow, right?
Yeah, and her mom was a judo Olympian in judo, and she used to teach her from a very young age how to do arm bars and all this stuff before she actually got into judo.
Well, that's all well and good.
Yeah.
But the reason that she's such a big star is because she's smoking effing hot. That's the reason.
That, and she's undefeated, and she's a personality. She's bringing some personality. Yeah. If she wasn't,
maybe a little personality.
Yeah. No, she is. She's a pistol. She's like Jill Soda. She talks a lot of trash. And
she's also smoking effing hot.
Okay. All right.
That's the reason.
Yeah.
In my estimation,
it's part of it. It's a factor. It's definitely like Gina Carano. She was a great mixed martial artist.
Absolutely.
But she also had some appeal. You could put a product on her shirt and people will go, "Wow, that I would like to see her."
Right.
I would like to see her fight, and I support that product because she does it.
Right.
So yes, of course that's a factor.
Right. That's all.
We're not crazy.
No,
it's a male-dominated sport. You see a girl that's very attractive, but also very exciting to watch, and a very technically superior athlete in her and all that.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt on that.
Yep. So so that's coming up the 23rd, February 23rd. That's a big card. And a big card, as they say out there in Boston.
It's a big card.
That's a terrible accent. They that's a big card. Dan Henderson's on that one. Leo Machida. If you're not into MMA, I'm sorry if I'm boring you. How's the shoe? Shield is trying out fixed one of his new shoes with a little shoe goo. Yeah, and so you were really excited to see how that turned out, and you've opted that during the podcast you're going to check it out. I guess.
I can do two things at once. I've checked the recording.
We're already doing two things. We're drinking coffee. You're having a cocktail.
I'm having a cocktail.
And you're doing the shoe and the podcast.
Well, I'm just checking to see how the adhesion is coming along.
How are we doing on time? We told Shortie Biggs that we would be calling him shortly, right?
Yeah, we better call him. We're 27 minutes deep.
27 minutes deep. I jokingly told him we'd call him in about 20 minutes.
Okay.
Keep in mind that Shortie Biggs, calling Shortie Biggs. So he's going to be a little irritated because we were supposed to call him a little sooner, I think. What do you think? If he doesn't answer, we only give it one shot, right?
Oh, yeah. We're going to call him back.
Hello?
Shortie Biggs.
Hey, what's going on, dummies?
Couple of dummies calling you up. How you doing, my friend?
I can't complain.
What are you doing? You watching Sports Center?
I was watching Sports Center, and now I'm watching Inside Story, the behind-the-scenes of Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Whoa, that's
heavy.
That's pretty interesting. I'm surprised you're not watching the Food Network.
Yeah.
Well, I had my fill of my Man vs. Food marathon on Friday evening.
Wait a minute. This is big news because the Man vs. Food marathon in Curtis's world has been going on for 4 years.
That's correct.
So that means that this past Friday night, you finally had enough.
Yeah, I kind of was sick of watching it.
What? Wow. What happened?
You got full.
Well,
you got full.
I got to tell you, I was watching Adam Richman, and I just kept thinking about how his doctor must have told him over the course of those 4 seasons that he had to stop eating. Because you could see from season to season, he put on probably a good 15, 20 pounds each season.
You think, honestly,
he would get sweatier and fatter, and his clothes got tighter. And
his heart.
It kind of, yeah.
His heart just couldn't. His heart was doing the work for a family of 5.
It really was. It really was.
So
and I said something to my wife Friday night that when we were watching it, I said, his doctor probably told him that you have to stop or you will die.
So you could honestly see the progression, the physical progression in him?
Oh yeah. It's like looking at photos of Michael Jackson through the years.
Oh my gosh. And you do that as well, or what do we...
Yeah, what's the situation there?
I've
Ladies
been
and
known
gentlemen,
to
Shortie
look at some photos of Michael Jackson.
Shortie Biggs is exposing all kinds of revelations here today.
You know what I saw one time, Shorty, is that his workout regimen, just to keep up with the amount of food and calories he was intaking, for a while was almost at a professional athlete level, just for him to even continue living while he did it.
Yeah. I mean, he was on the Michael Phelps diet without any exercise.
So, have they discontinued the show?
Yes, because they last year they tried to go. It was called Man vs. Food Nation, where he was still the host, but they would have other people doing the food challenges, which I can only imagine was because of his doctor's advice. And then they just canceled it.
So I honestly did not know that this happened.
I didn't either, but
yeah.
I also don't have cable, so I don't get to watch that kind of stuff.
Right. Did his doctor? Did they interview his doctor? Have you seen an interview with him?
No, this is just based on just visual evidence on my part. I have no idea if it's really true, but that's my thought.
Wait a minute. Oh, Jesus. So you don't know if the doctor told him to quit?
No, I don't know. I can only imagine.
You're just making that up?
You're lucky we're a show. You're lucky we're a show that
fact
doesn't.
checker over there.
Well, we check facts occasionally.
Usually afterwards, and then never get back on and qualify them. But
well, in that case, I'm going to say that Adam Richman is dead from a heart attack. His family is suing the Travel Channel for $200 million.
All because he died from doing Man vs. Food?
Yes.
Oh my gosh!
See, here's what I think. I think that it wasn't necessarily the show that made him gain all that weight. It was the fact that he was Man vs. Food. So I can imagine that when he would go to restaurants, people would recognize him and go, "Hey, this is our food challenge. Eat it."
Right. And if you don't, you're a big wussy.
Yeah.
Right. If you don't, then it's all lies and camera tricks on your TV show. So he had to prove himself every time he went out to eat, which is kind of what I do, even though I have nobody to prove it to.
That's awesome. And just think about it. He goes up to people like, "Hey, Adam, you want to come over for our dinner party?" And he shows up at the dinner party. It's just a table with like a 12-foot sub. And they go, "All right, eat that."
Yep, eat it.
We didn't bring you here for your polite dinner conversation, Richmond. Eat that 50-gallon drum of mashed potatoes.
So I'm looking, I Wikipedia'd this thing, and it says, on January 27th, 2012, Richmond announced his retirement from food challenges. No exact reason was given as to why Richmond retired, other than moving on and wishing his audience farewell. His producer was quoted on the Travel Channel website as saying they were concerned about Adam Richman's health if the show had continued.
Wow.
Really?
That's what the producer... Yeah, shocking.
What do you know, Shorty? You were right.
They would be... But you were right, Shortie Biggs. But the brilliant part about that is the producers saying about the Travel Channel is they were concerned about Adam Richman's health if the show had continued. So the show could continue, and they would be so concerned about Adam Richman's health.
Right.
But the show would go on.
Right.
So
Yeah.
Right.
So Richmond retired, but had he decided to do another season, they would have done it.
They would have. He'd be doing the challenges with like EKG things on him and like
Right.
an IV pumping into his system
Yeah.
full of like digestive aids.
And then, so he goes to the hospital, and they're like, all right, our challenge is, can we ingest an additional 6 pints of blood into your system? Only 2 people have survived.
Turns out you cannot just live on a diet of 5 pounds of fried foods every meal.
Right. You can't do it.
Yeah, probably around the time that Super Size Me documentary came out, Richmond probably started going, wait a second. That's why my eyes blink uncontrollably.
That's right.
Because my heart isn't functioning at the level it's supposed to.
Well, I just assumed that guy, when he got off camera, would just vomit for an hour.
Throw it up?
Yeah. I mean, how could your body possibly digest all of that crap he ingested?
Yeah, that's I never even thought about that. That's a good point.
What do you think, Shorty?
I think that he was either vomiting or they had a cot set up and he would just sleep for about 16 hours after eating one of those meals.
He had a cot set up like right inside the restaurant. Like, all right, now Adam Richards going to bed.
Out.
He'd walk through the crowd, high five everybody, then lay down in a cot set about 12 feet away.
Yeah.
And then they'd be like, shh, 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 and quiet everybody so he could go right to sleep.
You know, I know I've had a couple occasions after going to the old Casa Grande where I would order a meal and then a couple things off the a la carte menu as well, and then coming home and doing the same thing.
Well, that old cart comes by and it's hard because it's right there, you know?
Yeah, it's not a cart, Mark. It's a la carte.
Oh, okay.
Off the menu.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, what are you doing to yourself, Curtis?
My
Shorty.
name's Shortie Biggs, buddy.
Shortie Biggs.
Yeah, can we cut here? Or?
Yeah. Don't worry, I'll edit that out.
Yeah.
So did you get the picture I sent of Shilb's podcasting wear? I'll put this up on the...
Yes, I saw it.
It's just obnoxious. For those of you out there, myself and Shorty are Bears fans. We enjoy the Chicago Bears. And yes, we live in Indiana. We should root for the Colts. But...
whose voice is that?
I'll let the audience decide. So
that's what every Colts fan sounds like to us.
Yeah, exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome Shortie Biggs, and I guess we'll talk to you next week.
He's not going anywhere. So Shilb forgets his nice headphones at work. So he goes, "Don't worry, I got another pair back in my bedroom."
Yeah.
And he comes walking out like he's going to the Colts sideline to throw calls into frickin' Andrew Luck. He's got these obnoxious big white headphones that say Colts across the top.
What's wrong with him?
And they got the horseshoes over each ear. I'll post a picture, don't worry.
Will you post a picture?
Yep, and they'll get a nice treat to what your hair looks like in the morning, too. With your crazy little...
I don't like where this is going.
All right, we're off it. Channel change. So what? How was your weekend, Curtis? Oh
God, you guys are great.
This I think that so far this is the best one. I think it's going really well.
Why do you?
I'm glad I'm not in the witness protection program.
Right.
No.
Midway through every podcast, Mark likes to make an assessment of where we are in terms of quality.
Yeah, and go ahead and listen back because I've never done that.
Right.
I do it afterwards, immediately afterwards. I high five you and I say that was the best one yet.
That's exactly what he does. It's true.
So that's good. It means we're on the up.
Yes.
So, anyways, Sunday you like to watch. Are you excited about baseball starting up, Curtis?
I am. I'm very excited
Shorty?
because I'll tell you why I'm excited. Because I'm a diehard Cubs fan, and the best part of the Cubs season is before spring training begins.
I remember one year. I think it was the year that this is going to the Cubs. They had those two pitchers. Who was the one that had 20 strikeouts?
Mark Pryor and Kerry Wood.
Yeah, so Kerry Wood and Mark Pryor, and both of them got hurt like in the first month of the season,
no.
And they were out. I mean, and it was like every single Cubs fan across the world was like, "This is our year. We have these two ace pitchers." And then in the first month, they both get hurt and go down for the basically the balance of the season. And I remember the headline was, "Next year came early yesterday." Next season came early this year.
It's not even nice the way people treat. Well, you know what? I think there is an amount of respect that everybody kind of pulls for the Cubs.
Yeah.
But you give them a couple years of really good seasons, and people will start ripping on them again. I mean, Cubs fans are kind of down on themselves, but there's still like they're Wrigley Field and all that. There's a respect there. Like I see Cubs. You can buy Cubs hats down here in Indianapolis, but you can't buy a Bears hat to save your life.
Absolutely not. So, of course not. So, how do you like the Cubs' chances this year, Shorty?
I think they'll have a pretty good year. ESPN is already counting them out. They did on SportsCenter today. They did a spring training storylines, and I watched, and they went through 31 teams and excluded mentioning the Cubs.
You're kidding. Come on, that's not true.
Yeah, it is true. They went through every single division, and they went through the NL Central, which, by the way, the Astros are moving to the American League this year.
Yeah, this is the year, huh?
But they went through every team. I'm not kidding. They went through every team, and I was like, oh, okay, now they're in the NL Central. And they talked about the Astros, Pirates, Reds, Cardinals, and no mention of the Cubs.
Oh, my goodness. Well, that's not right.
The Brewers? They cover the Brewers?
You know what? Maybe they didn't mention. No, they did because of Ryan Braun. The whole steroid situation with Ryan Braun.
Yeah.
Never-ending saga.
So, but you like the Cubs' chances?
I do. I always like their chances every year.
That's part of being a good fan.
No, it's
Shorty.
Go ahead. It is. It's part of being a good fan.
It is not part of being a good fan.
Right. No, it is.
It is not. It has nothing to do with being a good fan of the team.
It doesn't?
No. With thinking that they're going to do great every year, I think that's the worst thing you can do as a fan.
Why?
Because I think you should. This is where Shortie Biggs and I part ways.
Okay.
And why is it that we use my name on this podcast but not his?
That's just because you're.
Oh my God! But here's the thing: as a good fan, you should make an honest assessment of where your team is.
Right.
But like Bear fan.
Beginning of the season,
At beginning of the season, the Bear fan, every single Bear fan on the face of the earth thinks they're winning the Super Bowl.
Yeah. Because they haven't shown us that they're not going to win the Super Bowl.
But it's not like...
Yeah, why wouldn't you think that?
You could think we have a chance to win the Super Bowl. Mm-hmm. I'll even admit, late in the season this year, as an Indianapolis Colts fan, I thought if we could win that first game, then we would have a shot to go to the AFC Championship game, right?
Right. Well, that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard.
If we had won the first game and went to Denver, we would have had a shot to win the game against Denver to go to the AFC Championship. That's all I'm saying. Now, if we had beat Baltimore, but Baltimore thoroughly embarrassed us, and they were clearly the more superior team. But I wouldn't say they thoroughly embarrassed us. We lost by 2 scores, right? Mm-hmm. But had we beaten Baltimore, we would have a shot against Denver. That's all I'm saying. You've got to give me that.
Okay.
Do we, Curtis? Or Shorty?
Yeah, I'll give it to you.
A puncher's chance, right? But never did I really think that we would go and win the Super Bowl. But every year, week 1, Bear fan across the nation screams, we're winning the Super Bowl this year. And it drives me
eternal.
It drives me crazy.
Just being a good fan.
It's a bad approach.
Anyways, where do we start this conversation? It's just about being a good fan. It's about not being bad.
And we don't see that.
We don't see eye to eye on that.
We do not see eye to eye on that.
All right. Well, fine. Well, you know what's going to happen next season? First game of the season, I'm going to be pumping my fists and saying, we're going to the bowl, going to the big game, going to the big show. And you're going to have your arms crossed and go, we're not going.
Well, Sheldon.
Yeah.
I guess we're just going to have to agree to disagree.
That's very nice. All right, Mark. So I wasn't leading you into that. I mean, but honestly, I just wondered how you thought the Cubs would do this year. Yeah. You think they?
Yeah, I just, I have it's the hope springs eternal every spring. Yeah. I think they'll have a better season than they did last year, to be honest. They have that great rising superstar, Starlin Castro, that's kind of the forefront of their team. And their pitching staff is getting better. They acquired some new pitchers, and
that's good.
They have the new management and all that stuff. So I think they'll be better than last year.
Have you targeted a weekend to go up to Chicago and see a game?
Yeah, single game tickets go on sale. I think the second week of March. So I'll probably go up sometime in June or July. I made the mistake a couple years in a row of going first week during opening week, which was the first week of April, and even though that's technically spring in Chicago, that city does not believe that is spring, and it is absolutely freezing cold.
The city rejects spring.
Yeah, you're trying to sit in the bleachers and drink an old style and have a hot dog, and you are absolutely freezing with 40-mile-per-hour winds coming off of the lake.
Oh, brutal. And I know you being, Shorty, you being a guy that loves to gear up to support your team, that's probably, it's a little excessive.
It's a little excessive. And let me tell you something about Cubs gear. I've stopped buying jerseys because the very first authentic Cubs jersey I bought was about 3 years ago. It was a Carlos Zambrano jersey.
How'd that work out?
Not well.
The big Z, as in I'm asleep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And you probably just do you get, in Chicago, I don't know I don't really have a barometer for I know they're big fans, but when you wear a jersey of a player that's not a big star, do they hassle you?
Yeah, well, being the Cubs fan that I am, I have not worn that jersey. It's been hanging in my closet for the past 3 years.
Nice.
Well, lucky for you, it didn't cost you much, right?
Right.
Oh my God.
Speaking of Chicago, can I change the subject a bit here? Am I allowed to do that, or are you guys the
you can do it. You're a
moderators
guest.
here?
Hey, we would be poor hosts if we denied our guest a request to change the subject.
Yeah, I'm going to veto that.
Okay.
No, Curtis, you can't.
Sorry, Curtis, gotta go.
No, fire away, Curto.
Well, I got to say, and I know that Shield is a big fan. I don't know how you are, Mark, because I don't think we've talked about it much, but we did this little special tribute to Michael Jordan today on SportsCenter, and he's turning 50 next Sunday. And that makes me feel really old.
Yeah.
I'm just glad that he's the one professional athlete that I still follow that is older than me.
That's true.
Yeah. I feel weird now rooting for like football teams, and they're most are younger than me, the players I root for. And they're like, he's hit his peak. I'm like, well, there goes my professional athletics career.
Oh, yeah. That was dead years ago. Mark.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that was dead when I didn't have any talent for any sport.
Right, and now you do.
And now I do. Now I'm finally growing into myself, and I can shoot a basket. I can make a basket. I can run a 40 in a minute and 20.
Are you saying that you could now be a basketball or track superstar if you just had the right representation? Is that what you're saying?
You picked my two worst sports.
You said you could shoot. Those are the two you mentioned.
Well, the 40 is everybody knows the 40. They make you run that in every sport.
They make you drink a 40?
I'm saying I was going to be a Pro Bowl linebacker. Is what I'm saying.
Well, and word on the street is you can throw a hell of a beanbag.
Oh, that is for sure.
That's not a true statement.
Shorty, you just made your rent on the podcast by bringing up the sport that Shilby and I tried for the first time last summer. We thought,
how hard could it be?
How hard could it be? It's a little game called cornhole. How good is, at this point, it seems like it's a young sport as far as a competitive sport.
Yeah.
So we thought, how hard can it be? Let's sign up. We, once a year on vacation, sling a couple bags around and don't do too bad for ourselves.
Sure.
So we go out to the old Dublin Irish Fair and sign up for the cornhole tournament.
Well, it's a festival, but a fair is, kind of describes it.
No, there's food involved, so I think it could be cool.
Fair. It's a festival.
It's a festival. Sorry. So, Shorty, I don't know if you heard the whole story about this, so I don't want to take up your time by talking about it. But we went in there and got it handed to us.
Oh my God, these guys were unbelievable.
They were amazing, and they were laughing at us and just kind of like like we were. It was weird. It reminded me of when I was a kid and I'd go play a pickup game of basketball. Yeah. And you try to take a shot, and the guys would just pat you on the head and kind of laugh at your attempt. Yeah, and we were grown men, and we crashed and burned at that.
These guys were absolute ringers. I mean, they were just throwing the bags into the hole every single throw. It was like, well, they need to make the game tougher. Is what I thought.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
but
just
then how tough would it be for us?
Oh, it's impossible.
Well, I'd like to take those guys on our home turf, which was the beach.
Yeah.
And try to throw into ocean winds.
That's true.
Is how we were playing cornhole.
You're right. And we were throwing it. You'd have to throw it about 20 feet to the left, and then the wind would catch it and hook it right in.
Yeah, those guys don't know what they're doing.
No.
Those guys aren't. We're professionals.
Yeah, we're the professionals.
Right. I mean, we're playing links cornhole, and they're playing Bridgestone, Ohio.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so exactly. And then we lose the first round, and the whole point was you paid money to be in this tournament.
Yeah.
And if you lost the first one, you got to play a loser's bracket round. And so we thought, okay, we got a good chance of maybe beating another loser team. Maybe we have a shot. So we go up to the score or to the table where they sign you in, and we say, okay, we lost our first one. Who's our next one? And they look and they said, well, we didn't have enough people.
Yeah.
Play the same guys again. And so we had to play those same mugs again, and they were actually a little upset about it.
They were like, why do we have to beat these idiots again?
Again, yeah. Why do we have to break another sweat on these guys? We're not getting any better by playing these guys.
I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. My entry fee is getting in the way of your happiness.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I'm sorry. You've got to just thrash us one more time. It's going to take you all of 6 minutes here in the driving sun.
And no kidding, they did it in about 6 minutes.
They destroyed us systematically.
They didn't warm up. Like we went a little early, and we warmed up, and we were feeling pretty good. And they came up, and we're like, "You guys want to throw a couple warmers?" And they said, "We're good." And then they just proceeded to ring everyone in. And if we got one near the hole, they knocked it off the board.
That would simply upset them.
Yeah, that would just upset them. Like, how dare you even get close to scoring?
Yeah.
And in one, I rolled. I tried another technique. I hit a little shy of the platform, and it bounced up into the hole, which I was like, oh, wow, I didn't even think about that technique. Just bowl it down there like skee ball.
Yeah.
And the guy goes, no, that doesn't count.
Doesn't count because it hit the ground.
Doesn't count because it hit the ground.
Right.
It was terrible.
Thanks for bringing that up,
Yeah,
Chris.
thanks for being...
Now we're depressed.
Now we're depressed.
I feel terrible about myself.
Well, that's the show for today, folks. We're...
That could be the end of the show altogether. Sorry, Michael.
Sorry, Michael Young. Yeah, we're just kidding. You can't get us down. We've had how many months to recover from that? 6?
Not enough.
Not enough. It's definitely not enough. So anyway,
6 months, that's right.
We've got a couple... What Sheldon and I talked about was that we were going to practice nonstop and go back and win that tournament.
We have yet to throw one more.
We haven't thrown a single bag since we lost.
Since we lost. We can't go back. We're too close to it.
It's too close. We'd have to build a setup. Maybe if we find a place somewhere that if you move to another area and you have a real yard, we could set up a little cornhole back there.
I didn't even think of that.
Just came to me.
That's a really good idea.
It's a revelation, actually.
We move to a house, say.
Yeah. There's room for you too, Shorty. Room for you too.
I would love it.
We'll call it the House of Love and Friendship. So, yeah.
All right.
Well, I think we're going to, what are we going to do?
Shortie Biggs, thanks for joining us this week.
Yeah, dude.
Hey, it was a pleasure.
He added a little dose of newness that we needed, right?
He did, absolutely. And we'll see whether we cut it out or leave it in.
Yeah.
We'll see if it makes it through post.
Yeah.
And anybody that's watched the podcast knows that I go through it with a fine-tooth comb before I post
Oh, yeah. He cut out my F-bomb from last
it.
week.
Yep, cut that right out. But no, it's really great having you on, my friend. And I'm sorry
I've
I used
enjoyed
your real
every
name.
minute of it.
I'm glad you had fun. I don't know if I'll get around to bleeping out your name, but I'll do my best. Ooh, hope for motorcycle. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't
Yeah,
hear
what's
that.
going on out there?
I don't know.
I live on a busy street,
Yeah, exactly what street?
the barrio.
What's your exact address?
Well, can I leave you with the dream that I had last night?
Yeah.
I think that would be appropriate.
Yeah, I think this is how we
Okay,
should end all of our calls with you.
I'm going to go ahead and pause tape. Go ahead and go.
The dream I had last night, I was working for Tony Soprano, and I was at the Bing with him, and Joe Pesci walked in to try to kill him. And I pulled out my gun and shot Joe Pesci and killed him. And I was on the run after that.
That's it?
That's it.
Where'd you
That
run?
was my dream.
Where'd you run?
I don't know. I know I was shacked up in some little house, and people were trying to find me.
Oh my gosh! Did you fall asleep
Yep.
on the TV on the couch with the TV on?
No, but I've been watching a lot of old Sopranos episodes recently, so it worked its way into my subconscious.
Well, let me ask you this, Shortie Biggs. in your dream, was Joe Pesci taller or shorter than you?
He actually looked like me.
He looked like you.
Yeah, it was one of those dreams where I kind of shot myself. It was Joe Pesci, but I was Joe Pesci at the same time.
Have you seen that movie Looper?
Yes.
So maybe there was a little of that in there.
It could be.
Maybe it. Oh, that's interesting.
Thank you. Yeah. Sometimes I have thoughts.
When you listen to the show, Curtis, Shorty, you'll notice that we have a little section about Shilb's passive aggressiveness, and maybe your dream is somehow addressing a little passive aggressiveness in you, perhaps.
Could be.
Maybe, I don't know.
Well, we want to thank you for joining us, Curtis. It was great.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, it was a pleasure, and I look forward to more moments with you guys.
All right.
Yes, absolutely. Enjoy the rest of your day, and enjoy the rest of that Ferris Bueller program. It sounds like a humdinger.
It'll be much more exciting than what we just did.
Tell your lovely wife we said hello.
Yes.
I will.
All right, Curtis. We'll talk to you soon.
I'm out.
Bye. I'm out.
There he is. There's Shortie Biggs, a.k.a.
Curtis.
Which we can't do a nickname on a guy that I've never used before.
No, for sure.
Never used that nickname before.
Well, what else do we have, Mark?
I don't have much more, actually. I think that was the best one yet.
Again, with the assessment. There's nobody listening anyway.
No,
so
they're listening. Well, not yet. But they will be.
All right.
If you record it, they will listen.
You think so?
Yep.
Right.
And that's actually trademarked, so don't use that. So, folks, don't forget our email address is acoupleofdummies@gmail.com. Or you can, if you know us personally, you can text us or Facebook us with any input or just give us some feedback. A kind word never hurts. Don't be afraid to share a kind word.
But unkind words always hurt.
Always hurts. And they always are grounds for retaliation.
That's
That's A Couple Dummies podcast.
That's A Couple of Dummies.
Any closing words?
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao, Bella.